Have you ever felt the weight of time? 65, 70, 80, each birthday marking not just another year, but a shift in the landscape of your life. Maybe you've experienced the loss of a loved one, a change in your health, or the quiet anxiety of wondering, what's next? These aren't just milestones. They're turning points that can redefine the quality, the very essence of your remaining years. They can feel overwhelming, but they don't have to define you. In this video, we'll explore the powerful lessons learned from those who've navigated these same passages. Real people with real stories, finding joy, purpose, and unexpected resilience in their later years. This isn't about living longer. It's about living fully, now. Don't wait another day to discover the strength and beauty that lies within you. Let's begin. The phone lay silent. Another unanswered call. 85-year-old Eleanor from Ohio stared at the floral wallpaper, the vibrant blooms mocking the emptiness in her heart. George, her husband of 62 years, was gone. The silence in their small house in Chillicothe wasn't just the absence of his familiar humming as he tinkered in the workshop. It was a deafening roar of loneliness. Before George's passing, their days were filled with shared routines. Breakfast on the porch, afternoon walks, evenings spent side by side, watching the sunset paint the sky. Now the routine felt like a cruel reminder of everything she'd lost. The chores once shared loomed large. Managing the bills felt like scaling a mountain. The garden George tended so lovingly now felt overwhelming. Even the simplest things, like choosing what to eat for dinner, seemed to require an impossible effort. Have you ever felt that crushing weight of grief, that sense of being utterly adrift? The world continues, relentlessly, yet you're stuck in a slow-motion replay of heartbreak. The everyday tasks that once brought comfort now felt insurmountable. That's how Eleanor felt, completely lost, unsure how to navigate this new uncharted territory. The doctor's warnings about the dangers of prolonged grief seemed to echo in her ears. She knew she needed to find her way back to life, back to joy. But where do you even begin? It started unexpectedly with a watercolor set. A friend from her church book club suggested it, a gentle nudge toward a world beyond the overwhelming sadness. It wasn't easy at first. Her hands trembled, the colors seemed too bold, too bright after the muted tones of grief. But slowly, tentatively, she began to paint, finding solace in the quiet concentration, the gentle flow of watercolors across the paper. Each stroke was a step forward, a tiny act of rebellion against the suffocating grief. Then came the support group. At first, the thought of opening up about her pain to strangers was agonizing. But in the shared vulnerability, in the stories of others who understood her pain, Eleanor found a surprising solace. She wasn't alone. Their shared stories, the laughter, the tears, slowly chipped away at the isolation. She discovered the unexpected strength that comes from acknowledging the hurt and finding comfort in shared experience. Learning to paint was her first step toward healing, joining the support group her second, and slowly she found herself again. Not in the form she remembered, but in a stronger, more resilient version. A woman who had emerged from the depths of grief, her spirit bruised but unbroken. Her journey reminds us that the healing process is not linear, that setbacks are inevitable. The unexpected gift of letting go was not an effortless process, but one filled with both tears and tentative steps forward toward the eventual sunrise of hope. The ache in Arthur's hip was a constant companion. 72 years old, retired from teaching in Sarasota, Florida, he found himself wrestling with a new curriculum, the curriculum of aging. Getting dressed felt like a marathon. A simple trip to the mailbox felt like scaling a small mountain. His once vibrant watercolor paintings, once a source of joy, now lay unfinished on his easel. The paintbrushes felt heavy in his arthritic hands. It wasn't the paint itself that gnawed at him. It was the feeling of losing control, the sense of his own body betraying him. The frustration of his limitations threatened to steal the joy from the things he loved. He remembered his students, always so eager to learn, their bright faces filled with anticipation. He taught them about perseverance, about facing challenges with grit and determination. But now those same lessons felt distant, as if viewed through a fogged-up window. He felt a strange disconnect, a disconnect between the man he was and the man he was becoming. He was Arthur, the passionate teacher, and also Arthur, the man whose body seemed determined to slow him down, his hands refusing to cooperate with the demands of his eager mind. He found himself staring at his reflection, a stranger looking back with weary eyes. One morning, while battling to button his shirt, a simple idea sparked. He remembered a student, Sarah, who had battled cerebral palsy. She'd never let her physical limitations dictate her life. She'd approached every obstacle with ingenuity and grace. That image, clear and vivid, spurred something within him. Arthur wouldn't surrender. He would find ways to adapt. He wouldn't let his body define him. He would redefine his relationship with it. He started small. He bought a long-handled shoehorn, making it easier to put on his shoes. He invested in adaptive clothing with Velcro closures. He installed grab bars in his bathroom. These small adjustments were not mere conveniences. They were victories. They were acts of rebellion against the limitations he felt. He discovered a new type of strength, the strength of ingenuity, adaptation, and perseverance. He found other resources too, online videos on exercises tailored for seniors, support groups for people with similar challenges, articles on home modifications. He started a new series of watercolors, focusing on small, manageable details rather than large, expansive canvases. He began taking shorter, gentler walks, aided by a walking stick. He discovered that adjusting his approach didn't diminish his art or his passion. It refined it, focusing his energy where it was needed most. It was a different kind of strength, a quiet strength born not of brute force, but of thoughtful adaptation, of accepting his changing body while refusing to let it dictate his spirit. It was a strength that resonated deep within his soul, allowing him to embrace change and continue painting, continue living, continue being Arthur, the teacher, the artist, the man who found a new rhythm to life, a new and enduring harmony in the changing symphony of his aging body. Margaret, 68 and a retired nurse from San Diego, stared out at the Pacific Ocean, the endless expanse mirroring the anxieties churning within her. Retirement wasn't the idyllic, sun-drenched beach she'd envisioned. Instead, it was a quiet tide of worry, a constant undercurrent of fear about becoming a burden. Her children, busy with their own lives, lived hundreds of miles away. The thought of needing help, of being a weight on their shoulders, it chipped away at her self-worth. She'd always been the strong one, the caregiver, the pillar of strength for her family. The idea of needing care herself felt shameful. It wasn't just the physical aspects, the occasional ache in her knees, the slower pace of her movements. It was the nagging fear of becoming financially dependent, of needing assisted living. The bills were piling up, and the uncertainty of her future felt like a suffocating blanket. She'd always been independent, fiercely so, and the prospect of losing that independence. It felt like a slow, agonizing death. So she started small. She began having honest conversations with her children, not about her needs directly, but about her wishes for the future, about her anxieties. It wasn't easy. There were tears, choked back emotions, and the awkward silences that stretched between generations. But the act of opening up, of expressing her vulnerability, wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a powerful act of strength. Her children, hearing her fears, responded with love and support, offering practical solutions and reassuring her that she wasn't a burden, but a beloved mother and grandmother. They began researching long-term care options together, exploring different financial plans, and discussing the possibility of modifications to her home to aid her mobility. The process wasn't instantaneous, but it was a start. Margaret learned that vulnerability wasn't weakness. It was the pathway to connection, to support, to a stronger, more fulfilling life, even in the face of aging. It was about reclaiming her agency, not through avoiding the challenges of aging, but by facing them head-on alongside those she loved most. It was about the powerful embrace of planning for the future with honesty and grace, not ignoring the inevitable, but preparing for it with love and determination. The sea still stretched before her, vast and untamed, but Margaret now saw it differently. It wasn't a symbol of her own uncertainties anymore. It was the boundless horizon of her evolving life, a life she wasn't afraid to face, one step at a time, with the unwavering support of those who loved her. And that, she realized, was a treasure beyond any she could have imagined. So what now? How do we weave these individual threads, Eleanor's resilience, Arthur's adaptability, Margaret's courage, into the rich tapestry of our own lives? The answer, my friends, isn't a magic formula, but a conscious choice. It's about actively shaping the narrative of our golden years, rather than passively letting them unfold. It's about recognizing the challenges, the aches, the losses, the anxieties, not as insurmountable obstacles, but as opportunities for growth, for deeper understanding, for unexpected joy. Remember Eleanor's watercolor paintings? That wasn't just a hobby. It was a reclamation of her spirit, a vibrant brushstroke against the canvas of grief. Arthur's adapted exercise routine? A testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit, a refusal to let physical limitations define him. And Margaret's proactive approach to planning? A powerful act of love, both for herself and for her family, safeguarding her dignity and ensuring her well-being. These aren't isolated incidents. They're blueprints for navigating the complexities of aging with grace and purpose. So what can you do? What steps can you take today to begin writing your next chapter? Start small. This week, reach out to an old friend. Schedule a phone call, send a postcard, even a simple text message. Reconnect with someone who shares your history, your memories. Nurture those relationships. They are the bedrock of a fulfilling life. Ongoing, explore a new interest. A book club, a volunteer organization, a crafting class. Find something that sparks your curiosity, that stretches your mind, that allows you to connect with others and contribute to something larger than yourself. Don't be afraid to try new things. You might surprise yourself with what you discover. Embrace the learning process and view it as another opportunity for personal growth. The journey of aging isn't always easy. There will be moments of frustration, moments of sadness, moments of uncertainty. But within those challenges lies immense potential for growth and meaning. It's in those moments, when we are tested, that we discover the depth of our own resilience, the strength of our spirit, the enduring power of the human heart. Take a moment to reflect. What legacy do you want to leave behind? What stories do you want to tell? What wisdom do you want to share? What impact, however small, do you wish to leave on the world around you? Today, make a list of 3 things you'd like to accomplish in the next 3 months. Something small, something challenging, something that brings you joy. Share those goals with a friend or family member. Accountability is key, and sharing helps you to stay on track. Take that first step. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it. And never underestimate the power of sharing your wisdom, a simple story, a piece of advice, a heartfelt memory with those around you. Your life experiences, your hard-won insights, they are a gift to share. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I'd love to hear about your own experiences, your own triumphs, your own hard-won wisdom. Share your story in the comments below. Your voice matters, your perspective is valued. And if you'd like to continue exploring these themes, we'll be here to explore them more together.